All right, I think I am live. Let me check on my phone because how do I check? I think I'm live. Am I already live? Yeah, I'm live. Hold on. 1 second. What? If you guys can hear me in the live chat, let me know. Oh, there we go. Yes. Audio. Oh, Susanna is here. Susanna is saying audio is good. Yay! Susanna is here exactly when I needed her. Thank you so much, Susanna. You're very helpful. I honestly don't know how to thank you. All right, cool. Faraz is saying yes, you are. Thank you, Faraz. Um, again, just before we get started, first of all, post questions or any topic you guys want to discuss. Mention it in the live chat, and we'll just let you guys decide what we're talking about here. The live chat is actually here. So, just a reminder to everybody that these live streams, I don't usually announce them. I don't plan them. I just do it whenever I have half an hour of free time to hang out with you guys and chat about anything you guys want or answer any questions. So the only way to make sure that you get notified is to not just be only subscribed, like be subscribed, but also hit the bell thingy. Again, let me see where that's going to be. The bell thing, the bell notification thing is going to be right down here. When you hit the bell thingy, make sure you go select all so you get notified for everything, because YouTube just decides what they want to show you, and usually they don't pick videos from our channel to notify you because we're too controversial. Adam from Malaysia sending me 3 green hearts. Thank you, Adam. Susanna. Melik. By the way, another thing I want to mention to you guys is that I just had our first private Patreon discussions with some of our patrons on Skype yesterday. So if you guys are a patron, if you're not a patron, you can become a patron today. Do not become a patron if you're suffering financially in any way because of anything, whether it's a virus right now or anything else. Do not support us financially. But if you are comfortable supporting us financially, the link to our Patreon account is in the description. You could join our Skype group. And sometimes those in the Skype groups, some of them we're going to record them and put them on YouTube, some of our discussions. And the other ones, if some people don't want us to record it because they want to discuss something private, or because they don't want us to record them at all because it's not safe for them, we won't record them and we just have a private discussion. So if you want to join our Patreon discussions, link is in the description. Susanna, I don't know if I called it. Susanna is in that group, Skype group. I don't know if you got the call, but yeah. Anyways, let me see. Malik is saying, "Hey Armin, what is the topic of the day?" That's up to you, Malik. That's up to you guys. Susanna is saying, "What's your favorite type of chicken?" Um, I like them. I don't know what the way they cook outside in the street, the way I get it. I don't know how they cook it, but that's the way I like it. They don't seem to put anything on it, like no oil or anything. It's just like, what is it called when they put that metal thing in it and it goes around? There's fire under it, and it just seems very healthy because there's no oil, there's nothing added to it, so I like that. What's AR? Okay, so P is asking, what's AR's plan in upcoming months, if any? Thanks. Well, our plan is, first of all, many of our plans is gonna, because we're losing patrons because of this whole virus thing. Our plan. A lot of our plans are not gonna happen soon because right now, we had to actually let one of our people go because we can't afford them. But our eventual plan is to create more content and start our translation project, right? So we're going to hire translators. So once our donations grow and we get more people supporting us financially, we're going to right now we already have shows in Persian and a little bit in Arabic. I would like to translate the audio version of my book, Why There Is No God, into Arabic and Persian and Urdu and other stuff like that. I also want to start making shows, not just in Persian and Arabic, but also in Urdu, in Malaysian, in no Malaysian, in Malay, um, and other languages, Bengali or whatever, maybe even Spanish, depending on the demand for it. Um, Suzanne is saying, sorry, I missed the Patreon call. I was in the shower. That's okay. Just answer the ones, even if you don't feel like it, you don't have to answer it. Like, just answer the ones that you're like, Mars, did you? Oh, Mars is a patron on Secular Jihadist. Mars, if you join us as a patron on Atheist Republic, then you could join our Skype calls as well. Do you believe it's possible to be Gnostic about any gods? Yes, I'm a Gnostic atheist towards the biblical and Islamic, towards the Abrahamic God in general. I'm an agnostic atheist towards the deistic God, but a Gnostic atheist towards the Abrahamic God. Does that make sense? I don't know what that is actually, Malik. I have to look that up. Can you educate me on that one so I could answer you? Oh, weirdo, I don't know is here. Hello. What is this guy? This guy has a a name that I can't pronounce. He hates Islam so much. Anti-theist, the atheist delusion. I hate Islam so much. Well, I mean, I guess you could say that. I mean, I love and hate Islam at the same time. I hate Islam when it's taken as reality, like when people actually believe in it. I like it when it's just stories and mythology. In that situation, I like it. The atheist delusion. That's funny. Suzanne is saying, what language do you dream in? Persian or English? English. It's very interesting because actually when I went to Canada, I think 15 years ago, I was very trying to, it's not just dreaming but also thinking. I remember noticing where my thinking was also switching from Persian to English. That's a very interesting question, Susanna. Faraz saying, I wonder how is Iran's economy and people dealing with COVID. Where does it go? COVID-19. I ask because COVID-19 will affect not just people's health but economy. Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's having the impact on Iran's economy. I think the impact is exactly what you predict. It's a disaster. I don't have the numbers, but it's I don't think anybody. Yeah, it's hitting poor countries a lot more than even, like, a lot of people in the United States are filing for unemployment, and it's really, really, really bad. But the difference is that in poor countries, people are struggling to find ways to eat. Like, it's not like not being able to eat outside or not being able to eat the food that you like. Right now, a lot of people, not getting your paycheck for a lot of people means starving. Right? It's not like, oh my God, I might get kicked out of my apartment or might have to live in a smaller place. No, it's like, wait, we might die. Okay, like where do we get food right now? Okay, so it's pretty. I'm not talking. That's not the situation with Iran, by the way. But it's Iran is in between what I just described and United States and stuff like that. But but there are worse. All countries are not all. I don't know all, but yeah, all countries are getting hit. But there's poorer countries are getting hit worse. Like Iran, as bad as Iran is, there are people that are suffering even worse than in Iran. Like here in Philippines, the government is promising to hand out food. So if right now people are not receiving their paychecks, and they're like, the government is promising that they're gonna show up with food at everyone's houses, but a lot of people are protesting because they're like, they're not receiving it. So it's pretty intense. Did I miss anything? Guys, make sure you tag Atheist Republic if you want me not to miss what you're saying. Weirdo, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm part of the Black Keep. I'm not going to take that seriously. Don't weirdo. I don't know. If you want to troll, I'm gonna block you permanently. Okay. Jack one is saying hi Armin. Hi. Kyle is saying what? Yeah, I already answered Kyle's answer. What language do you think in? I think in English. I mean, I don't speak. The only times I speak Persian is when I talk to my dad, or when I'm doing a Persian show on Atheist Republic's Persian channel. So that's why my thought. If you start speaking and listening to English all the time, you're gonna. In fact, I remember when I started doing the Atheist Republic Persian show, a lot of people from Iran, or a lot of Iranians from all around the world, were making fun of my accent and making fun of the fact that I had forgotten some words. Now it's coming back and everything. It's kind of like biking, right? Once you don't bike for a very long time, at first you get on it and like, wait, well, how was this done again? But then very soon, it's like takes it just a few minutes to catch on. For me, it took a few months, and now people are in the Atheist Republic Persian show are noticing that, oh, it's like I'm speaking normal now again, Persian. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so Melek is referring to a belief that I can't even pronounce. I don't know what it is, but he's defining it as the belief that the term God itself is meaningless or incoherent, especially when outside the context of a particular religion. Yeah, I don't understand how would you defend that? Just because something is not real, it doesn't mean it's meaningless. Like dragons are not real, but you could define what a dragon would be if it was real. You could define God as like, how is it meaningless? Things that are not real, just the words. You could have words for things that are not real, and the words wouldn't be meaningless. I don't know. Maybe I'm not getting it. I personally consider myself a total Gnostic atheist, though. Well, no, I don't consider myself a total Gnostic atheist because it's very easy to define gods, certain gods, define them in a way that would be impossible for you to disprove. A lot of people think agnostic means you're not sure about something. That's not necessarily the case. If you're an agnostic atheist towards something that could not be disproved, you're basically you're taking it as seriously as werewolves and Santa Claus and Peter Pan and a whole bunch of other things that could not technically be disproven, right? Just because you're an agnostic atheist towards some definitions of God, that doesn't mean like it's pretty much zero possibility. There's a infinite number of things that I could come up with, just that you cannot disprove, but you cannot prove it as well. And because the number of things that I could come up with that you cannot disprove are infinite, the chances of each one of those existing is not technically zero, but is as close to zero as it could possibly get, right? It's basically 1 over infinity, okay? Which is 1 over infinity is not technically not zero, but it's zero, all right? Okay, Weirdo, I don't know, is finally getting serious. He's saying, let me see, did I miss anything? Guys, make sure Weirdo, if you want to make sure that I don't miss your questions, you have to tag Atheist Republic, okay? Weirdo, I don't know, saying, I want to carry the last discussion. How would you feel if tons of what? I don't know what kind of men came to your country. So some men from some other places, I guess, started singing Red Rocking Chair and My Darling Cora non-stop. Appalachian. How do you say that? Like people from Europe, right? From non-stop refusing to sing your countryman music. I wouldn't care. Why would I care? Okay, so first, it depends, right? So which country are you talking about? You're talking about Iran? If a whole bunch of people come to Iran, I wouldn't care about what they're what they're singing or what their culture is. I would care more about the economic, So I'm not for open borders, if that's what you're asking. Okay, I'm not for like just people like there needs to be borders. There needs to be screening. Countries, the governments of each countries are hired as by their people to represent them, so they can't just be like, hey, let's just open the door, like let's just let everybody in. Like no, like you're supposed to represent the people of that country. You need to make their lives better, right? And sometimes making their lives better might require inviting some people in. Like you're like, oh my God, we're running out of nurses. We need nurses. Okay, well, let's get some nurses from the Philippines or something like that. Like, oh my God, we're running out of engineers. This country right now needs a certain kind of engineers that we don't have. Sometimes it requires bringing some people in. Sometimes you make bad decisions and you bring in people that you don't need, and it's going to not good for either side, right? So those calculations matter to me more when you're letting people in, more than what they're singing and what their culture is, or whether or not they're respecting the culture of the country that they're coming in or not. It doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter. Why would that matter? Okay, you answer me this. Why would that matter? Okay, let them sing or do whatever. I would be upset if they're bringing values. Okay, so again, remember last time we mentioned culture means two different things. So let's not use culture. Let's say two separate things: traditions or values. Okay, if they bring traditions with them, in fact, I would be happy. I'm like, oh my God, no more traditions in this country. That's amazing. Okay, we have more traditions. But if they bring crappy values, then I would be like, okay, yeah, that's not good. In fact, those crappy values should have stopped them from coming in during the screening process, right? But if you're talking about Iran, I'm worried about the crappy values that already exist in Iran, not about crappy values that somebody might bring in Iran. So Iran was already, infected with very crappy values. When it comes to traditions, I don't care. The more, the merrier. Okay, Mars is saying, Sam Harris makes the effort to bring a rational approach to spirituality. We have meditation practice to explore, but do you think there are other rituals that can be secularized? Yes! First of all, I don't even know if meditation works, honestly. A lot of people that show that meditation, like studies on meditation that works and stuff, if you look at the studies on meditation, they have been compared to people that are not meditating, okay? But what I want to see is people who are meditating compared to people that are spending the same amount of time just chilling out or sleeping, okay? Like, you have to convince me that if I, like let's say half an hour of meditation every day. What if I spend that half an hour just taking a nap? Wouldn't that be better, like chilling and not thinking about something or relaxing my mind? Like, I haven't seen any data that shows meditation actually works beyond just, like the meditation practice does anything beyond just taking a break. Okay? With regards to other rituals, I think people are so different that what works for different people is, I think like exercise is a great ritual. Cooking could be a good ritual for some people. Another interesting thing is that you could take religious rituals and secularize them, right? And again, this is a lot of people are like, oh my God, this is reform. No, this is not reform. If you take religious rituals and take the belief out of them, then that's just playing games and having fun. Like a lot of atheist Jews that still do their religious rituals and they don't believe it, right? The problem with religion is not the rituals. The problem with religion is the belief. If you take the belief out, you could keep the rituals. The problem, like with reform, is that it keeps the belief, right? The belief is the problem. Get rid of the belief, you can keep the rituals. It's harmless. If you want to hold hands and sing religious rituals and do like play with like shiny plates and do some religious decorations and stuff, if you don't believe in any of that nonsense, have fun. Susanna is saying, if you want Armin to... Oh yeah, thank you, Susanna, for reminding people to tag Atheist Republic. Weirdo, I don't know, saying, okay, I went troll. Thank you, Weirdo, I don't know. Because I like your questions, Weirdo, so I wouldn't like to see you go. Malik is saying, okay, I already read that. Okay, you're saying is the belief that the term God is inherently vague or incoherent. I mean, you could define, like, if you could be very specific about what you mean about God before you talk about it. Like, for example, in the beginning of my book, I mentioned my definition of God. If you have a different definition of God, well, then we're talking about different things. But my definition of God was a conscious creator of the universe, right? We could work with that. I mean, other words are very vague as well. Like, love is very vague. So when people say love, most of the time, like, we don't know what you're talking about because we have different definitions of what we mean by love. But you could fix that by, like, okay, if we're having a debate or discussion about love, let's actually first define it so we know we're on the same page and then move forward with that. It's very easy to solve, so I don't know what the problem is. Faraz is saying, I know lots of religious people and fundamentalists like Bangladesh and Pakistan, for example, don't care what their presidents say and defy authority and pray anyways. Okay. What is this about? Is this referring to something that we said before? Oh, okay. I think this is regarding the virus and people going to congregation and just praying. And yeah, I saw that actually in many places it's happening. Again, this is not a uniquely religious problem, but it seems like religious the religious groups are being a little bit more stubborn than other people's when it comes to cutting it out. Matt is saying, Armin, what's your usual reply on atheism leads to state atheism to communism? That's my first response. Big sigh. So again, these are two different discussions. What is state atheism? Because I don't understand. Are we talking about something anti-secular? Because I support secularism, and if anybody wants to force atheism on their people, that's against secularism, right? I mean, that's not just for atheism. That's for anything else I believe in, right? So it's just so, I mean, it's just so stupid. Sometimes something is so stupid that you don't know where to begin. So state atheism, are you talking about forcing people to live as if atheism is the answer? But why would that just be true with atheism? Because, so that means that anything else that I believe is fake, why would it not lead to state that, right? Like, I don't believe in palm reading. Is that gonna, because if I go tell people like, hey, palm reading is nonsense, is that gonna lead to state palm reading, state anti-palm reading? I believe there's many things that are bullshit. Am I gonna not advocate for those things because one day a government might force people not to, instead of trying to convince people that something is wrong, it's gonna force them to live as if those things are wrong? I mean, if something is not true, you just go around and say, like, if you believe that something is a con and something is hurting people, you go around and tell people, like, hey, this is nonsense. Stop believing in this, and here are the reasons why. And, like, why? First, okay, here's my answer. If somebody says atheism leads to state atheism, I'm like, okay, evidence. That's my answer. Where's your proof? Why do you say that? And if somebody says it would lead to communism, I'm like, give me proof. I have many examples that it haven't led to that. That's my answer. Weirdo, I don't know, saying, how would you feel about foreigners coming to your native land of Iran and mostly sticking to their traditions? I wouldn't care. I honestly wouldn't care. No, actually, I do care. It would be great. More traditions, better. It's the more the merrier. It would be fun, right? Actually, it would be like more things to see in your neighborhood, okay? Why? You think when I open my door and go to the street, do you want me to just see Iranian food? Or do you want me to see Iranian food and Japanese food and Indian food and European food? Or like, which one do you when you go to see a show? Do you want to just see Iranian shows, or do you want to see, you know, some music? Somebody's playing music from France and somebody's playing music from Japan. What's better? Obviously, like, more options. What's wrong with having more options? Again, what I worry about is inferior values, not traditions. Traditions can be inferior because, traditions can be inferior personally, subjectively. Some traditions could be inferior for you personally. But the solution to that is very easy. You just don't consume, right? If you like, oh, I like ancient, I don't know, let's say you're from Turkey. I like ancient Turkish art. But now people are coming in with their own art, and it's not ancient Turkish art. Like, guess what? You don't have to go to the gallery, or you don't have to look at it, right? Your art is still there. Your music is still there. The clothing that you like, the fashion that you like, it's all still there, right? The values, if values come into your country and start infecting your country, inferior values, that's a problem, because inferior values hurt people. Multiple traditions don't hurt anybody. Who's going to get hurt by people all of a sudden, like you're in Europe and somebody's dancing a Turkish dance? Who is that going to hurt? How is that going to hurt anybody? You don't like that dance? Don't look at it. Matt saying, and what do you think of atheism right-winger? Atheism right-winger? I think they're, well, you mean right-winger or alt-right? Because those are very different things, right? If they're an atheist right-winger, and I agree with them on their atheism, and I agree with maybe a few things on them being right-wing, and not agree with some other things. Again, we have to define, what do you mean by right-wing? Because right-wing, like socially right-wing, or physically right-wing, or are you talking about the alt-right? Depends on what you mean by right-winger. Beto is saying, hello, I wanted to join Atheist Republic Cairo Facebook group, but I tried to join in with a fake account I made. Was that reason my request never got accepted? So our local consulates in every city are autonomous as long as they abide by some very simple rules. We try not to tell the consulates in every city how to moderate, as long as they're not allowing, as long as they're not discriminating against people based on political affiliation. Maybe it's because you have to talk to the admins of that group. Okay, I don't know what they're doing. As long as they're not allowing any racism, actual real racism, or homophobia, transphobia, sexism, very small little rules that we have. Other than that, we let them rule their groups the way they want. And as long as most of the people in the consulate like their admins, we don't try to get involved. But yeah, get in touch with the admins and be like, why, you just message them on Facebook, right? How long have we been going? Okay. Let me just answer a few more questions. Weirdo, I don't know, saying, what's your favorite tradition song from any Anglo-Celtic culture? I don't know these. I don't know. Tradition. Well, wait. What is that? What the Swedish girls do? I don't know. Yodeling? Is that? Yeah, that's kind of cute. What is that with the? What is that with the singing to the? This I don't know. It was a Swedish or some other European. They sing to bring the cows back to the farm. That is very. Oh, actually, never mind. Here, I have an answer for you. I like their ancient gods. That's pretty cool. I like one thing that once I get done with reading about Abrahamic religions, I would like to learn more about Odin and Thor and other like their Nordic mythology and their stories. That seems very fascinating to me. One day, eventually, I'm gonna start reading more on those. Like, look at this. It's, here, this is a good book for that, actually. Does that answer your question? Suzanne is saying, Armin, remind people. Oh yeah, yes. So Suzanne is saying, Armin, remind people to slap that like and subscribe button, like it's Surah 434. That's. Oh god, that's the best. So I'm gonna see. so slap. Armin, remind people to slap that like and subscribe button like it's Surah 434. Oh, that is beautiful. I'm gonna use that forever. That's amazing. All right, comment if you know what Susanna is referring to. That was genius. Susanna, did you come up with that? That is fantastic. Okay, good. That was a good way. You can't top that, so I'm just gonna end it here. Yeah. By the way, yeah, please do like and subscribe and share and comment, because again, this YouTube is working against us, and we need you guys to just whatever interaction you have with this video is gonna make YouTube go like, ooh, people are like engaging with this. Whatever you do, if you comment, if you like, if you share, if you dislike, if you tell me that I look weird today and I sound like a Muppet, like people, so just mention that in the comment section, and it's just gonna help our channel. Yeah, P is saying yodeling. Yeah, I said yodeling. But yodeling is different from this thing that they do to bring the cows home. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, I saw videos of that. I was like, what is this sorcery? Like, this girl would come out in the field and she would just sing. It wasn't yodeling. And all the cows would come as if they were so attracted to the sound of her voice. They would just come to her. And I looked, and some people said it's just a way for farmers to bring the cows home. Yeah, God, that's amazing. So yeah, I like that. Suzanne is saying, I literally don't know how to stop being ridiculous. Yeah, don't ever stop, Susanna. That's why we love you. Okay, I'm gonna just do one last thing with Matt, because Matt is clarifying his question above. Wait, Reza, the reason why I might have missed your question is because you didn't tag Atheist Republic. So tag Atheist Republic and ask your question right now if you want to. Matt is saying, atheist right-wingers are like atheists that say Christianity is important as part of history for making us progress to what we are now, like USA. It should say atheism to make it good. Okay, yeah, that's absolutely ridiculous. I don't think all atheist right-wingers say that. There are a lot of atheist right-wingers that absolutely despise Christianity, and rightfully so. But anybody that says Christianity is important and brought the United States to where it is, that's horseshit, okay? United States and Western countries have actually become great countries because of values that were contradicting Christian values, okay? It was the Enlightenment thinkers and their philosophy and their ideas that made Western countries ahead of all other countries in the world. And you could actually a good book to see how the Enlightenment values affected the world is this one. See Van Pinker Enlightenment Now. I keep recommending that all the time. It's actually a really good, but this should be, this is kind of like my Bible. But yeah, so they just don't know their history. The Enlightenment values that made Western countries better than everywhere else were in opposition to, they were against Christian values. What are your thoughts on Quranists? Well, for people who don't know, Quranists are people who just focus on the Quran and ignore the Hadith. Honestly, if you only focus on the Quran and ignore the Hadith, 90% of your religion is gone. Like, okay, if you focus on the Quran, how do you know, and not Hadith? So I have two responses for that. Like, how do you know how to pray? How do you know how to do the Hajj? How do you know how to fast? How do you know, like, all the things that Muslims do that makes you recognize them as Muslims? You wouldn't know how to do them. There's nothing telling you in the Quran how to do them. So you completely have, everything that makes Islam look and feel like Islam. You don't have any sources for that anymore, right? I mean, Quran doesn't have much commandments. There's very little instructions in there. There is some, but not as much as the Hadith. And at the same time, a lot of people are becoming Quranists. Well, not a lot of people. There's still a fringe group. But people who are becoming Quranists is because they read the Hadith and they're like, oh my God, this is absolutely ridiculous and indefensible. We have to ignore this. We have to ignore this. There's no way we could defend these Hadiths. So they're like, okay, let's just focus on the Quran. The problem with that is the Quran is also indefensible and ridiculous, okay? So they think now they have an advantage against people like me who go after Islam and shows people how ridiculous the Hadith is. And they're like, okay, we're just going to focus on the Quran. They feel like, okay, now you can't defeat us. All right, let's play that game. I'll just use the Quran against you, and I will still win against you. Mars is saying, Armin, did you see the debate between Dillahunty and Dinesh D'Souza? What were your thoughts? No, I mentioned before that I didn't, because honestly, I'm on a information diet. Remember, every time you're consuming a certain content, there's an opportunity cost associated with it because you're not consuming certain other content. And honestly, I have spent so much of my time and life debating the God debate that I have other things to do. I need to focus on other things, learn new things. Like, how many different ways am I going to discuss God's existence, right? I wrote a book. One reason why I wrote a book, Why There Is No God, is so that I don't have to have that debate with people anymore. I just like everybody that asks me that question, I'm like, hey, here's my book. Here's a free PDF of my book. Now get lost. Here's my answer. Quran is I'm not saying that discussion is not important. I'm glad so many people are out there are having this discussion, because we need to be out there for people who are still curious, and people who are just discovering, and people who are maybe just recently are becoming skeptics or considering that. But I'm just ready to move on to other things. I'm not saying people who are doing this, they shouldn't be doing this. The Quranists say that salah just means duty. Yeah, they're pulling that out of their asses. Like, they have no idea. Like, how do you know? Like, they just want to change everything, and we're like, okay, how do you know that? And they have no answers. Like, they want to just change 1400 years of Islamic history and commentary and tafsir and everything, and based on nothing. Like, they're like, even the fundamentalist people are like, okay, telling them, okay, this is your view on things, based on what? And they have nothing to back it up. Malik is saying, oh wow, this is going longer than I thought. Malik saying, have you come to across 5%er or Nation of Islam follower or their ideology? Yes, but I didn't have I came across them in LA, but I didn't have a discussion with them, because my wife was with me, and she would have lost her mind if we spent our LA trip on talking to these people. I wish, if I was alone, I would definitely have a discussion with them. Reza is saying, I asked an atheist worldview, if I seek pleasure at the expense of hurting others, and I can get away with that, what should stop me if I don't believe in... Okay, first of all, there's the atheist worldview. There's no such thing as atheist worldview other than not believing in God, right? So a lot of people, when you say atheist worldview, is as if like atheists, there's nothing that unites atheists together other than a lack of belief in God. There's nothing else there, okay? So there is no... you could summarize atheist worldview to one thing. Do you believe in God? No. Okay, that's it. So any other worldview that atheists have is something beyond their atheism, okay? So if you ask that question, like, oh, if I seek pleasure at the expense of other people, If you ask atheists that, they're going to have different answers for you. Okay? Atheists are going to have different answers for you. So are you asking an atheist worldview, or are you asking for my view? Because there is no atheist worldview that answers that. The Duke is saying, Armin, did you see the debate? Oh, Apostle Prophet and Imam Tawhidi? No. I should watch that though. Was it a debate or was it just a friendly discussion? If it was actually a debate, then I would watch it. If it was just a discussion, I don't know if I'm going to be able to have the time. David is saying, hi, I love and appreciate you, Armin. Ah, thank you, David. I want to know what your thoughts... Okay, this is going to be the last one, okay? I want to know what your thoughts are on mathematical patterns in the Quran. Have you looked into that? Yes, I actually spent... There was this Muslim that came to me and he said, like, there's no way you could deny this. These are he gave me one of the mathematical miracles in the Quran. And I asked him if he actually, like, he said the number of these words, I think, was the same as the number, I think it was the number of days mentioned of the word day in the Quran is the same as 365 or something like that. And I asked him if he counted it. And he said no. I'm like, how do you know if it's true? It's like, he knows it's true because he got it from people that he trusts. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go count it. And I did an Excel spreadsheet, and I basically downloaded like a Quran counter. I don't know what, like word counter. There's online versions of it. And I did count the word of the Quran. I put like in the Excel spreadsheet, I put the different versions of the word day. And I showed it to him, and I was like, okay, it doesn't add up to the number that you said. And he said, like, no, you shouldn't count the ones with the al. You should just, this format of it, and the other ones you shouldn't count, And I'm like, okay. And I adjusted it, and I came back to him. I'm like, wait, it doesn't add up again. And he was like, then he stopped answering me. I'm like, look, I counted them. I actually went and did the the work that you didn't do. You just believed it. I went and actually counted the words that you said. That's a math. Like, a lot of people just read these articles about mathematical miracles and like, oh my god, that's amazing. Like, but how do you know they're telling you the truth? There is no mathematical miracles in the Quran. Okay, they all have been debunked. All of them have been debunked. Malik is saying it was not a debate, and the Duke is saying it turned into a debate. Ooh, I'm interested. Ridwan and Imam Tawhidi started debating about the Quran. Okay, that's interesting. That is interesting. I might actually listen to that. All right. Okay. I'm going to leave it here. I keep promising myself to keep these shorts, and I keep forgetting. Because this is fun, so sometimes I forget that I have other things to do as well. But you guys are awesome. Thank you, Susanna, for admitting the group, the live chat, and also for helping me out with things that I should remember myself, but I never do. Like and subscribe. What she says, like, slap the like button as if it's the Quran verse 434. I don't know. She said it better than I did. I have to find that. But yeah, do that. And see you guys again soon. Bye.